Hi, and welcome to my channel, the A Traveling Knitter channel. My name is Steph, and I come to you from Columbus, Ohio. This is episode 78, and it is August 2021. And July was not it for me, guys. Both in terms of crafting, reading, just general, not the best month. I'm trying to recover from that, and I'm hoping, oh, a little birdie, hoping to kind of get back into it. But yeah, so let's just talk about the things that I knit. I didn't finish anything. I barely put any progress into things, but that's okay. Not every episode's gonna be a winner when it comes to knitting. First up in my You're Like Really Pretty bag, I got this at Target for $5 in the dollar section. I love it. And I do have a half finished object. My sock blockers are nowhere near, so I'm not gonna grab them, but it is one sock. This is, oh, I thought I had the ball band in here. It's Sensations. It used to be a line at Joann Fabrics. I don't think it is anymore. I haven't seen it in years. And yeah, so this is basically 25 grams. I was gonna hit 26 grams and I only have 50 gram skein. So I ended up doing just a tiny bit in a gray. It's not a perfect match. I think the gray is just not the right tone for the sock, but honestly, that's okay. It's fine. So this is gonna be for my dad, and I hope that it fits. I really need to just like write down the sizes of different people. Honestly, Ravelry should have this. There should be a section in your notebook area where you can put in like measurements for sweaters, socks, hats for people that you knit for people that you knit for. Is that the right way to phrase that sentence? Anyway, I've been keeping a notes on my phone where I just write down the measurement that my friend gives me, and then I kind of convert that into how many rounds that ends up being on my standard sock gauge. So what I did for this one is, I think it's 60, 30, 40, 50, 60. Yeah. So it is 20 rounds ribbing, 60 rounds, and then a German short row heel, which is my preferred heel. And then it is 70 rounds for the foot, and then a rounded toe, I think. I'm never sure what, I think that's a rounded toe, right? It's where you do every other round decreases, and then after a third, you do every round decrease until you get to your third. So that's that. I knit these on 9-inch circulars, and then I switched to magic loop to do the toe. Each of these stitch markers denotes 10 stitches or 10 rounds in between. And I have started the second sock. They are not going to be matching. I am just, so like it's like here, I'm slightly off, but really again, I am going to be using every single bit of this skein. So I didn't have the luxury of trying to match up to where I was at, which is fine. The contrast that I did use is a Knit Pick Stroll in a gray color. The goal is to have these finished by the end of August so that I can enter them into the summer sock camp. I feel like of all the socks, these will be the easiest because it is just straight knitting. But anyway, would love to have those done. Then another pair of socks, which are in this project bag that I made. These are the Blomst socks, and I am this far. The Blomst socks are out of this Lina magazine. This is issue 2, and Blomst is by Jessica Gore. I don't know if this is where I was at the last time I showed these. I don't know, but I'm just gonna move that now. So there we are. I am really loving these, really loving these. So I am on the leg and I'm not sure how far I'm gonna go. I need to weigh this. Last time I weighed it, I think I had only used like maybe 30 grams. So we'll see. It would be nice to use as much as possible, or to have, you know, 10 grams left over, or 20 grams left over would be nice. I just have to weigh to see what this is, because then I would have a really nice mini. This yarn is Plymouth Happy Feet 100. It's a 90-10, so 90% superwash, 10% nylon, and the colorway is blueberry. And I really like this yarn. I'm pretty sure it's relatively economical for a yarn, a sock yarn that has that hand-dyed quality or aesthetic. I really love this yarn, and I've had this caked up for many, many years, and I'm just really happy to be using it and happy how good it looks. Here's the foot. Right? That looks so good. So good. Big fan. These are going to be for me. I'm knitting them on 9-inch not 9-inch. I'm knitting these on Magic Loop 40-inch. I'm assuming these are size 1. They're either a size 1 or a 1.5. Can't really tell. I did not work on the Avena or Alva, I can't remember, those white socks, because I don't have the energy to deal with the heel. So I know I need to get to that. I really wanted to have this finished. The other thing that I have worked on a little bit is my Ripple Bralette. Still not finished, and I've been saying that I'm knitting the size large. I thought I was. I genuinely thought I was. I've recast this on so many times, and I was doing the ribbing and I was just like, it's not even. It's not evenly spread out. Why? Why didn't I just count then and there? So I started casting off, and then I realized I'm knitting the medium. So I had to rip out, you know, a couple hours of ribbing to get back to the ribbing portion. And yeah, so I'm knitting a medium apparently. I think it's still gonna fit. I'm gonna move my stitch marker because I don't know if that's where I was at or not, but Progress Keeper is moved. Yeah, so we're still here. Still here. I really want this finished so that I can wear it at least once this summer. Yeah. It does stretch. Oh, and this is by Jessie Made Designs. It does stretch quite a bit, so I'm pretty sure it'll be fine. It just won't be as loose as I had originally planned it to be, but that's okay. This yarn, again, is Teal Torch Knits Dancing on Top of Cars. And I will eventually finish it. The only other project is something you haven't seen before. Lady Grey, Earl Grey. That's right. It's like 85 degrees and I'm drinking hot tea. So the only other project that I've worked on, I've actually worked on the most. And that is a crochet blanket. Why am I working on a crochet blanket? Because I've just been really stressed. I've been very anxious all of July. Just very anxious. And I haven't wanted to put forth a lot of effort. So I cast on a random stripy blanket. It's pretty small. My intention is for like a baby blanket. This is the second time I cast it on because the first time it was just a little bit too stiff. It's probably still a little bit too stiff, but it's fine. I'm crocheting with a 6mm hook, and it's this, so it's got this like rubbery, whatever this is on it. And I really like it. I got this, I don't know if I bought this online or something, but I have a set of these like gummy hand things on my crochet hooks, and I really like them. These are my preferred. I have this Etsy bag, and this is where I keep all of my crochet hooks in here. And I have a couple different types. I have your standard, like if you're in America, boy, they're metal, there's no handle. They're fine. They just kind of hurt your hand a bit. I've got this set. Oh wait, that's not it. Where is it? This set has a handle on it, but this is plastic. These were my favorite because of just having a little bit more grip. I got a set of these at Backwoods Festival. It's a craft show festival kind of thing that's in Ohio. Very good. If you've ever been, is it in Thornville? Just type in Backwoods Festival, Ohio. Fantastic. If you're ever in the area, it's worth the drive. It's one of the best festivals that I've gone to. It's not like yarn related. It's more craft show, and in the center they have food and they have fried bologna sandwiches. They also have these big vats of soup. It's so good, so good. Definitely go. But I bought a set. Just a vendor randomly had like crochet hooks for really cheap, so I bought a set. And then when I was in Germany, they had these Addy ones, but the problem, so I thought these would be great and ergonomical, but the way that I crochet is when I'm crocheting, I'm twisting the hook like this, and it wasn't working for me with this. So unfortunately, I don't like this. I don't like this. Maybe I have to try it a few more times. Maybe I need to twist my whole wrist, but I twist like this. And why do I twist? I like thinking on it, why does this even happen? So if I've got, and I'm not an expert crocheter, I'm not very skilled at crocheting, but basically, so I put it through, do this. Okay, it's when I'm hooking it. It's when I'm hooking the yarn is when I'm twisting the needle. Yeah, so when I'm doing that, I'm twisting it. And when I've got this, there's so much bulk down here that it's stopping my twist from being smooth, if that makes sense. I know some people also crochet like this. I think that's how it's designed. I tried that and I found that my tension was super tight when I was crocheting like this. So maybe I just need to work on that a little bit more to crochet that way, because I think it's maybe more ergonomical to do it that way. I don't know. Do you guys crochet? Do you also, does this make sense at all of what I'm talking about? But anyway, I'm also trying to use up just the acrylic that I have in my life, because craft shows are just, they're long gone, right? Like, it's not worth it. You don't make money doing craft shows for like knitting and stuff. And that's really what I had all this acrylic yarn for. Also for gifts for people. But even that, I have recently been like, I go buy yarn for that gift. I don't just have a stockpile, or I don't need a stockpile because I don't go to it. Anyway, so I picked out a bunch of Vanna's Choice yarns. And so I had this like rust color, which I love this color. And then I have a couple skeins of, what is this? Linen. And then I have toffee, rust, which is not that, this is more of a red color. And then lastly, I have chocolate. Now, this brown color up here, the toffee, I feel like it doesn't quite belong. I think it's more cool toned and the rest are warm tones. Minus this one. I think this is cool to neutral. So I'm not sure, but I think once I put it all together, I think it will look fine. And I'm not being super picky. So these are 6 rows, then this is 2 rows, 6 rows, 2 rows, 6 rows, 2 rows. I ran out of yarn, so this is 5 rows. And then in between going to the next one, I did, I think I did 5 rows for here so that I could get back on an even track for the rest of it. This was a partial skein, so I'm gonna be able to do more stripes in the other ones. I am not sure if I'm gonna maintain the same stripe pattern because I have less of this yarn. So I might purposely make them look different so that it's not obvious that I did run out of yarn. But maybe it won't look bad because this is like at the bottom. I don't know. So they're all Vanna's Choice. I used to buy Vanna's Choice a lot. You can buy Vanna's Choice at Michael's. It's pretty affordable. And yeah, random blanket. It's single crochet. And I've been working on that because it is easy, like very unstressful, kind of like knitting socks, but even with the socks, I'm counting every 10 rows. That barely, right? Like it's 6 and then you stop, but I feel like you can count rows easier in crochet because it's just bigger. Okay, so this episode is going to be pretty long because I'm actually going to talk about the I75 yarn crawl and the shops that I went to and the things that I purchased. So if you're not into like stash acquisition, then feel free to shut off and catch me on the next video. But if you are into stash acquisition like I personally am, then stick around. So first off, the I75 yarn crawl is a yarn crawl that's extends from Michigan down to Tennessee, and it follows the I-75 highway. Now, you're gonna make some deviations, especially Columbus. Like I-75 does not go through Columbus. It goes through, it's like Detroit through Dayton through Cincinnati, and you've got to make basically you have to make like an hour-long detour to get to Columbus, but it's worth it. We do have some really great yarn stores, and I ended up purchasing from every single yarn shop I went to because I feel compelled to. I want to support my local businesses. Also, I want to own a yarn shop. And I feel like I'm very close to doing it, but what's holding me back is health insurance, which if you don't live in the US, is this your concern when you are going to open a small business? Because here in the US, it's a big problem. It's a problem. Like, I have to have health insurance, and to do it as an individual is very expensive. So anyway, the yarn shops that I went to Yarnit and Haberdashery, which is in Grandview Heights, and it is in a strip mall. There's a coffee shop, there is a butcher, There's parking out front, and it's kind of situated in a neighborhood, so I've never had issues with parking, but there are, you know, street parking pretty much everywhere for free. And then there is a few restaurants at the end. There's like a paper place. It's a really nice location. Really great. Oh, and across the street there is a playground area. So if you are wanting to visit the shop and you do have small children, you can let them play in the playground. So after you've purchased your yarn, grab some coffee, walk over, sit on the benches, and let your kids run around in the playground while you knit. So really good setup. There is a school right there, so if you are going during the week and school's in session, just be aware of that, because that's when it gets backed up. There, you know, like school pickups. I feel like everyone complains about school pickups and there's never any space, so just be aware of that. The school is like across the street, up the hill, so it's very, very nearby. And the things that I purchased from Yarnit, I have all my yarn right here, so just gotta dig through it. Do this, and this. Okay, so I purchased 2 skeins of cornbread and honey in the honeybee colorway, and this is fingering weight 75-25, 463 yards. It's not like a super golden yellow. It's almost like a primary yellow that then goes into a butter yellow. And then the speckles are like a pinkish red. What I want to do with this is I want to design a t-shirt that has ruffle sleeves. And I don't know if it'll be like buttons in the front or if it'll just be solid, but that's what I would love these to be. I also picked up a set of minis from Cornbread and Honey, and this is the Villain 5 mini skein set, fingering weight. So it's 75-25, and each of them are 20 grams, so it's a total of 465. I don't know what I'm gonna do with these, but I just loved them. I loved what these colors were doing. I want to knit them together. I'm not sure what, but it has to be, I think it has to be a garment of some sort. It's just so beautiful. And then lastly, I picked up the Dye Mad yarns, and this is local to Columbus, or local to Ohio. I want to say, and this is the Grandview Theater, which is, there is a theater in Grandview Heights. So that's what this skein is dyed to represent. And this is the Chester sock, so it's 75-25, 437 yards. It's just blues and reds together. I'm pretty sure Dye Mad yarns used to be a different name. I'll put it below if I'm correct there. I don't know what this is gonna be. I just bought it because I did not have any of their yarn, and it was, you know, local, so grabbed that. Then I went to 614 Studio. The owner is Andrea. She is up north, but it's up north, so it's not quite all the way up to Hilliard and Dublin, but it is north of the city center. So her yarn shop is also situated in a strip mall. There are several of them that are kind of separated. So there are restaurants, there's a hobby shop, there are, I think there's like insurance, there's a lot going on there. That road, I think you can go 45 miles an hour or 50 miles an hour. And then the parking lot, it's just the whole line of that road. So like you can turn at any point and then you're basically in the parking lot. So it's not bad getting in, but getting out sometimes can be a bit of work because you have like very little clearance to turn your car around, and you have to be watching for anyone else that's like turning into the parking lot, because there's not a set like spot of where people get into the parking lot. You can get in anywhere along that road. And then anyone that's already in the parking lot, if they like want to drive further, again, there's really no space for them to drive along the road in the parking lot, if this makes sense. So just be aware of the parking situation. Again, I've never had a problem finding a parking spot, and normally when I'm going, it is in the evening because of work, right? So I tend to go, Thursdays is when she's open later. So she's open till 7 o'clock on Thursdays. So that's typically when I go because of, work, not being able to get off work or whatever. So highly recommend the store. It is my favorite store in Columbus. And the yarn that I bought from her, so she carries Stitch Together Studio, and my hair is here. My hair is everywhere. And this is the Stitch Classic. It is an 80/20, and this specifically is Thunder Moon, and it looks like it was a July 2020 colorway. Mine came with a little pin. I've just been really into the neons. I want to make a loose, flowy racerback tank top, and this I think is going to be perfect. So that's the plan for this. And then I also picked up, oh, it's all coming undone. So I bought, wow, they all came undone. Okay. I bought a sock set from McMullen Fiber Co. And this was one of the trunk shows that was in the shop. And they had the Red Rock Canyon collection, or just the Canyon collection. And then this sock set was the Red Rock Canyon. And it is 80/20. And essentially, I bought this sock set because I loved this skein and this one. And then I also bought a sweater quantities worth. They didn't have all, like there wasn't enough to be able to buy a sweater's quantity, but I did do a special order and paid ahead. So whenever that comes in, I will have a sweater quantity of this yarn. Oh my gosh, it was fantastic. So they had their entire collection as a mini skein set as well. So you could see all the colors that were in this collection, and they were gorgeous. Oh, it was so beautiful. I highly recommend you go onto McMullen's website and just look at the Canyon collection, especially that mini skein set. I was so tempted to buy it, but I didn't know what I would do with it, and I really need to stop just buying like mini skeins. I don't like scrappy projects, and I don't typically do fades, so why am I buying mini skeins? As of right now, I pretty much only use them for socks. So as much as I wanted it, I did not need it. So then the next day I drove down to Cincinnati and went to a couple yarn shops. The first one I went to was called Hank, a yarn boutique, and I have the receipt here, and it just says Cincinnati, Ohio. So I can't really give you a borough, but anyway, it was nice, and it had its own parking lot, so that was great. And I didn't buy any yarn there, but I picked up 2 books. So the first one is called This and That by Pam Allen. It's 10 Knits to Keep You Warm and Cozy. This is like a Quince & Co. collection. I borrowed another one from the Dayton Library. was kind of hoping that they would have like a little like list of their collections, but no. So anyway, I made a sweater out of one of these bind ups. It's called, is it Willow? And I love that sweater. The design is beautiful. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, yes, yes. And it's gorgeous, just like the first one. I still want to buy that other one. So there are 6 pullovers, 2 cardigans, and a hat, and there's a dress. Like, how fantastic is that? Let me get, yeah, so there you can see it as a dress. There's a close-up of it. Big fan, big fan. I want that. I want that dress. I really like sweater dresses. So there's a colorwork yoke. This is a gorgeous cabled sweater. And then there is a very interesting like peasant puffy sleeve. I really like this too. I feel like this could, like, this is a whole aesthetic. That's a whole vibe right there. And then this sweater is also gorgeous. And then this cardigan, I'm a big fan of this cardigan right here with that honeycomb cowl or honeycomb, I don't know what that's called, but that. Yeah, so really, really like that. So I picked up this book, and then they had a whole section of Kim Hargreaves. I find it so rare to find a Kim Hargreaves book in a store. I used to just follow Kim Hargreaves religiously before I found indie or independent designers. And I almost feel like when I started really getting into like looking at garment knitting, I don't know if there were a ton of independent designers. And maybe that's just me not being aware of them, but either way, I've been such a huge fan of Kim Hargreaves. I have yet to actually knit a garment from her. I have started one, and it was very difficult because of the construction, but I have knit a hat out of one of her books. And yeah, I saw this and I was like, actually, this is one of the books that I wanted. And it's just so cool. So the photography is always amazing. This is my favorite model. I tend to gravitate towards the books that she's in. So this one, the skirt, like super cool. I would wear that skirt. There's the hat. There's this cardigan. This sweater, gorgeous. And then we have another cardigan that's really pretty. Some simple stuff, big sweater. I love this one. I don't know why, but I really like that one. Another, and then this one. This one is just so pretty. And there's like 2 big cozy sweaters, and then there's this massive like blanket sweater. Just love it. I love it. So yeah, grabbed 2 books from that store. And I did forget to mention, I did also pick up Strains of Joy at Yarn It and Haberdashery. And I love this book. I ended up buying yarn for 2 things in here, one of which is all the way at the end. It's called Weightless, and it is that sweater right there. And then I also was looking at yarn for a hat called Incandescent. Gorgeous. I love pattern books. I've mentioned this so many times. I love pattern books, but let's talk about some of the yarn that I bought. So the next place we went to was Fiber Optic, which is a yarn store. I mean, it's somewhere in Cincinnati, and they carry pretty much only their yarn. So it's a studio yarn store. They have fiber, they have mini sets, they do gradients. So they do a lot of just different styles of yarn, and it's all theirs. So I ended up picking up, what is this? 6 skeins of yarn from them. I bought 3 skeins of the Lakeshore colorway, which is just so beautiful. This was last year's 75 yarn crawl. And I really love the peach with it. And this is supposed to be that sweater that I just showed you, but I'm concerned that the peach is just not going to show up well enough with the yarn. So I have to do a test swatch of the color work to see how I like it. Otherwise, I picked up this color, but I don't know. I don't love it. I love this. So maybe in the end, I don't even make that sweater. We'll see, because I love these together. This is Coral. The burgundy is Queen of Hearts. And then I also picked out a gray because I thought this would be the rose hat. The gray is Looking Glass. And what's kind of cute is that they have numbers that I think are dye lots, and it tells you who dyed it. At least that's how I interpret that, as that person is the one that dyed it. Then we went to Lambikin's Hideaway, and she had some clearance yarn that my friend and I bought. One of the skeins of yarn that I bought, though, was this Heritage Print, which is Cascade yarns, and it is a sock yarn. I have made socks out of this before, and I needed this colorway. I love it. It's gorgeous, right? So the colorway it's color number 103. It's beautiful. Here's a picture of what it's supposed to look like. I thought this looked fantastic. So then the yarn that was on sale was Juniper Moon Farm Stargazer Brushed Extra Fine Baby Llama. And it was originally $22. And I think, how much did we end up? I don't remember how much we spent, but I thought everything was 50% off. So I'm pretty sure, my hair is everywhere. It's because I had this yarn on the floor. I'm pretty sure this was 50% off, but this is supposed to be some sort of sweater. I'm not sure what kind of sweater. Originally I wanted to do like a cropped sweater with this as contrast for like an elbow and the cuffs, but I thought I really only needed 3 skeins, but they had a total of 4, and I felt kind of like, who's gonna want to just buy 1 skein of this? So I took all of them. So now maybe this is like a cardigan with elbow patches and contrasting pockets. Maybe. So this is Osiris, and how much is in here? So it's 85% baby alpaca or baby llama, 15% nylon. It is 284 yards. And then the reddish coral color is terracotta. So, sweater. Then the last yarn store I went to is called The Yarn Shop in Columbus. It is in Kenny Center, and they are closing. they're not gonna be renewing their lease. So they had 30% off of everything. I bought a bunch of needles, and I also picked up this measuring tape wristlet, one of the baskets, which I need to get soaked so that I can shape it again. And then I picked out a bunch of Malabrigo. So I grabbed 2 mechas. So this one is Va, V-A-A. It's like a deep, deep green. And then this one is Piedras. And mecha is bulky, and it's 130 yards. It is 100% superwash merino, and it is a single base. I thought this would make a fantastic hat. And then they only had like 2 skeins of any one color. So I bought these 2 thinking that they kind of blended really well together. And so these ones are Petrichor, and it is Arroyo, which is this, I think it's Arroyo is DK, I think. It's 335 yards for 100 grams. It is 100% superwash merino. And then the other Arroyo, yeah, it's DK, is in the colorway Glitter. So have these 2, not sure what to make with them, but I bought them with the intention of a sweater. And that is that. Those are all the things that I purchased during the I75 yarn crawl. One of these days I would love to just do the entire thing, you know, start from Michigan or start from Tennessee and drive the whole way, but I would have to take off work to do that, and that'd be a very expensive trip. Let's just say that, because this was a lot of yarn that I just bought. But it does make me happy, and yeah, knowing, you know, I don't feel bad about it. I supported local businesses all along the way, and we even went to a restaurant, local business, so all's good. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. It was a bit longer than normal, but again, it was going through all the things that I purchased. If you have any questions or comments or anything you want to tell me about the yarn that I bought, or any of the patterns or anything at all, just let me know down below, or get in contact with me on any of the social medias, be that Instagram or Ravelry, or I guess Goodreads, but I feel like Goodreads is like the weird one to reach out on. But thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.